This is the Beyond the Dojo podcast. Beyond the Dojo podcast. You think I wouldn't trip over that by now? I'm Lauren.
I'm Jeremiah.
And we have been we've been discussing Shodans, Shodan exams, getting ready for Shodan, and all of that stuff. Being a Shodan, what it means to be a Shodan, blah, 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 blah. The past couple weeks. And today we're going to continue on that same path because we've got another discussion for y'all.
Why do black belts leave?
Basically, why we're trying to discuss today a couple of ideas as to why we think Shodans hightail it out of the dojo after they actually get their black belt.
Yeah, it's almost... Well, I've been reading a couple articles, and some of the articles, the three things that tend to show up mostly is they feel like they achieved a goal of getting the black belt, so that part of the whole journey is over. They're physically and mentally burnt out.
Yeah, okay.
Which I could see that, right?
Yeah.
And the third, which is a shame because it's so prevalent that it's an actual issue, is they don't want to teach.
They don't want to teach. Okay, I actually wouldn't have expected that.
So that was, to me, the crazy part was like, and it makes sense because if you think about the students, not everybody wants to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Not everybody's doing karate to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? And we're guilty of it. You know, we've done it before. We have our helpers and stuff like that. And I think it's part of the culture, part of the system set up before, you know. As I was going through coming up in karate, it was, you know, by Shodan, you were expected to help.
Yeah.
You know, and then that role became more and more as you were more and more committed to the dojo.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that burnout, and the teaching can almost go hand in hand. So, like,
right.
What Jeremiah's talking about is we had an experience. We had some guys, whenever I first took over managing our previous dojo, I had some teenage boys that were unbelievably helpful to me. I mean, if it weren't for them, I don't know what we would have done because I wasn't really sure how to handle classes and I was still experimenting with things. And they were so gracious and they helped me keep classes organized, keep kids disciplined, and they were there like clockwork. And slowly but surely, a lot of they ended up kind of dropping off one by one, and then I only had one helper left up until last year, and then he ended up quitting before he ever got to test for Shodan. And I think, you know, they were just the kind of people that when they committed to something, and I understand that because I'm the same way. And I think they just got burnt out, and it was too much to put on a teenager. And even, you know, I will say I think we were pretty open about telling them, you know, if you feel like you can't do this, it's okay. But they still had that expectation. We really shouldn't have allowed them to help as much as they did.
That's hindsight, though, because while doing it, we didn't realize what was going on.
Yeah.
But now looking back at it and looking at that group, going, oh, man.
We kind of messed it up for them.
Up.
Yeah. And
we messed up. That's all there is to it.
And then, you know, that also... it's changed our perspective with like our own black belts. So I came up in a dojo where the instructor was always traveling because he actually traveled for work. So all of the black belts pretty much ran the dojo. So I had experience learning under all kinds of different black belts. The good thing was I got to experience different styles of teaching. The bad thing was that there was no unified standard and there was no one really leading.
Right.
And so we got taught a lot of things that, you know, weren't really that great quality karate.
Or conflicted.
Yeah, or they conflicted with each other where we were going back and forth. Like,
you
know, one teacher would tell you one thing and then one teacher would tell you something else and you don't know who to believe or who to listen to.
Right.
But in our dojo, we try to have black belts, you know, teach on occasion and try to not get people too burnt out and give them too responsibilities. I
think we are achieving that with the adult black belts that tend to come through our way. It seems like we're blessed with that in a sense that there's a lot of guys that come down to Florida and they're looking for a dojo and we're centrally located.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
But those are the three main issues with why black belts leave.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the first one. You said the first one was...
achieving a goal.
Achieving a goal. So, I mean...
I think that's purely cultural to me.
Is it?
Yeah, like... I don't know, man. I don't see a lot of Americans doing something just to do it.
Yeah.
You know, especially kids. I always see them in competitive sports, so they're trying to win for the season, states, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Even your more theatricals, they're still trying to strive to get to the next level and achieve, you know, a new stage or whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't see kids nowadays doing something just to do it. just as a hobby, or even I hate to use the word practice, but even like a practice where it's just you're not achieving a goal, you're just doing it.
Yeah. So they don't do something just because they enjoy it. They generally do it for a specific purpose.
Right.
You know, I think there's twofold things to this. One is it is cultural. You know, there is a culture in that's going to pick that up. Jeremiah's messing with Velcro over here. There is the culture in the United States that we're goal oriented. You know, even though we can claim that we're trying to always be better, we are goal oriented people. So we're always going to be searching, like, trying to achieve that one goal. But I think the flip side, and we've talked about this with testing, is that I feel like if you emphasize testing too much in your dojo and that's the only goal that's being shot for, then that's all that there is. Right. So then once you get Shodan, it's like, then what? Then what do I try to get Nidan now? Do I really want to put that time in? Do I even know how long it's going to take? Right. You know, if all you're ever shooting for is rank, then what else is there? You know, if you're not working on, you know, refining technique, or, you know, if tournaments are your thing, if you're not getting ready for tournaments and having that as a goal, if you don't have, you know, some people even try to get ready for seminars. For them, they use that as like a marker and a goal to get themselves fit and ready to be able to go to a seminar or a certain training. So those are kind of nice substitutes. But if you as the instructor don't present that to your students, I think that could be another contributor to them only looking at Shodan as a goal.
The culture of the dojo itself, it does play a big role into it. I only could refer back to like the small club kind of culture, where it's not a business or a big manufacturer. You know, some of these karate schools, you know, are big time into tournaments and sport karate, and that's what they're known for. And they're factories in a sense. They have certain classes that all they're really doing is recruiting athletes to get them to compete, and they're very successful. Yeah. And I've been a part of a club like that, and I've been a part of a club that's just purely, it was a city club, and that was it. Yeah. You know, there's not much else to it. So I agree with you. It is a club culture, or the dojo culture. Thank God that we're still young enough and still
early enough in our dojo.
Yeah, early enough in our dojo establishment and culture that we can provide multiple goals. Yeah. And different approaches, because, you know, we're not really set in our ways yet. Yeah.
Hopefully not ever, but yeah.
But basically, you know.
Yeah. So what was the second one you said?
The second one was burnout, physical and mental burnout. Okay. And which makes sense because, you know, everybody hated brown belt. I don't know. Not everybody. I don't know. The most people I talked to, you know, brown belt was always a really hard stage in their karate life. Yeah. Not only was it physically challenging, it was mentally challenging, because you had to show up for class to get better. Yeah. But the entire time you're trying to get better, you're not really being told you're getting better. You're just getting the next problem. Yeah. Or the next issue, technical, physical, spiritual, whatever. Yeah. You know, there was no let up on the grind, in a sense. So. Yeah. But.
Dude, but when you're getting ready for Shodan, like, even if it's not inflicted by the teacher, especially if you're just a motivated person, you could be told, hey, you're going to be testing for Shodan in, you know, 2 years or 1 year or 6 months or 3 months, you know, whatever, that time frame. You're just so focused on that one thing. Yeah. To me, I mean, it makes sense. And honestly, like, if you think about the Olympics, like, professional athletes, they have 4 years between the Olympics. Now, granted, they have other competitions in that time frame, and they have to actually qualify, but they actually have a period of time where they're able to rest and kind of recoup.
But when you talk about elite athletes and elite, you know, in their sport, there's not a lot of them that do that. And we're talking about general public. Yeah. You know, the elite athlete, the guy that's successful in tournaments or whatever, there's not going to be much to hold him back. You know, they tend to have that competitiveness and that drive themselves. Yeah. We're talking about the general public who, you know, is average, maybe below average athletically. Yeah. Has other motives for karate. Yeah. You know? So that's what I see it as. We're talking Shodan. The guys that are excelling, I mean, you really, really have to be a horrible teacher for someone who's motivated and driven to learn art to drive them away. Yeah. I mean, you got to really try. Yeah. And that, to me, you know, is just exception to the rules.
Well, you said that whenever, like, this wasn't a rank related thing, but when you got into your late teens, you got kind of burnt out with karate too, right?
Well, yeah, it was a couple things. I was getting older, not older like I'm out of shape or what. Just I got to a point where I realized a lot of the training I was doing and a lot of the people I was training with had some physical issues that were because of overuse.
Oh, okay.
And that concerned me.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Florida and I met a couple guys there that were even in their mid-20s and starting to show symptoms of hip issues and knee issues, it kind of scared me. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to have to hobble around for the rest of my life after I was 24 and done competing for nothing.
Yeah. And then you just got into other stuff too.
Yeah, and I got, life got in the way, basically.
Yeah.
I was immature. I kind of wish I would have went that route longer just to see, but
yeah,
that's not the topic today. The topic is...
We're talking about burnout. Related to karate, so...
Yeah. My burnout wasn't because I was tired of doing it. My burnout was because I no longer saw an end goal.
Yeah.
Which is part of this black belt stuff. And I no longer saw a reason to train.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like we were deliberately trying to do things wrong. It was just we're taught wrong. People didn't understand how to move their body that way.
Yeah.
They didn't understand the effects we had on what we were doing to our body.
Yeah.
I mean, it was starting to become more prevalent back then, but it was, we're still in the dark. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that stuff scares you a little bit. But to me, that's different because you really committed yourself. Okay. To get to an elite level like that, where you're competing nationally and traveling and having some success with it, compared to someone who's put 4 years into an art,
or in our black belts cases, 8 years.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I honestly, let's be honest, the 8-year black belt, they're not going to quit.
Hopefully not.
They'll quit. They'd have quit a long time ago.
Yeah,
they'd have been tired of it.
Yeah. Well, like Raylan said in the last episode, she almost quit. Yeah. Like right before I took over, she was almost brown belt level, and I remembered now after the podcast the time that she talked about. She was testing for third Q for brown belt, and she was failed on the exam. Right. I didn't really agree with that, but she was failed for that exam, and that was a really hard blow to take. I mean, if you ever fail an exam, that kind of makes or breaks you. That's not to say that you wouldn't.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit later, too.
Yeah, okay.
But in her case, she already went through that make and break decision time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So black belt wasn't really the make break decision time.
Yeah, it was prior to.
It was a prior to that.
Yeah.
So I don't see her stepping away because of that.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say about the burnout stuff was, I get it. If you put a lot of time, concentrated time in a short period, or a lot of concentration and effort in a short period of time, you're going to burn out in anything. Mm-hmm. And I blame the burnout to the approach of how to get prepared for a test.
Okay.
At black belt level. Mm-hmm. I think it has to be. It has to be a little bit more ebb and flow.
Okay.
In brown belt level, you have to get on them and tell them, hey, yeah, you're messing up here, you're messing up there. Mm-hmm. But you also got to show them when they're moving forward too.
Oh yeah.
To subtly kind of encourage them, but at the same time, never make them think or let them think they have arrived.
Yeah, and not like a manipulation thing though.
It's not a manipulation thing, but at the same time, the way you present your information and the way you present how you see things can affect how someone's like, oh, okay. You don't even have to tell them, oh, you're good, you're at black belt level. If you give them the wrong compliment, some people take it and run with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it probably also depends on the student. Like, I think in our guys' cases, they already know, like, they have stuff to work on. They hear it enough. So giving them compliments is always nice. Yeah. I think it just depends on the student. I was always one where I didn't really think about compliments as much. Like, they didn't really register.
So I deliberately...
My teacher was always like, he was really, really hard on me and then would very occasionally give me compliments.
Yeah, see, for me, when I teach brown belts, I deliberately cut the compliments in half.
Yeah. This was good, but this is not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't let them dwell on it because we're not to where we need to be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the burnout because we're not, we're pretty harsh on them.
Timer's going off.
So.
We're simultaneously cooking and podcasting, so.
Yeah, we're actually sitting in the kitchen bar. Smells good.
What was the next one?
But I thought those were the three main reasons why people step away from the dojo after getting a black belt. They achieve their goal. They're burnt out physically, emotionally. And physically, I get it because, there should be a physical ramp up to black belt. You should show a change in your body a little bit.
Yeah.
You should be more active. You should be able to handle this. You know?
Well, okay. So I'm surprised that this didn't come up because this is my opinion. Two things. Actually, I'm going to use somebody as an example. He's probably going to never listen to this podcast. So there's a local boy that we have a black belt class, and his mother stumbled upon our dojo, and he actually trains out of county at a different style of karate that's similar to Shodan. And when we met him, he was the first degree black belt, I believe. And, every dojo has a different standard. Do we agree that he should be black belt level? Probably not. Not yet. Not in Shodan, at least. And then, as of recently, I guess he's Nidan level. But he comes and trains with us once every other month, just on a Saturday or something for our black belt class. And, we were talking to him yesterday during our black belt training, and he said that they used to... the reason he's coming is because he feels like he's not getting more information. He feels like he's not... His parents were upset because he's not being taught any advanced information. And we had to reassure them that just because you reach black belt doesn't mean that you don't practice basics anymore. You still do have to practice them. You still have to hone them. But there is a little bit of responsibility on the teacher to make sure that you're actually advancing their basics as long as they've got the fundamentals down. And I know that we were silently thinking that was probably the case, but we didn't want to verbalize that to the parent and make it into this big thing. So anyway, he said to us yesterday that they used to have advanced classes, but now they do not have advanced classes because the other kids, he said, not adults, the other kids who were advanced have quit. So he's one of the only advanced students left. So not only are there no advanced classes, and not only is he not getting advanced instruction, he's also being asked to teach the younger kids. And it's like, what's the point of a membership then? I get a little annoyed with this because if you're a business owner or you're running a club, run it like you want to run it. If you don't want to run it, close it down or let somebody else do it. Just let it go. But that's a side rant. So in his case, we kind of felt like, based on some of the descriptions he was giving us about different instructors coming in and teaching, that none of the instructors know what to do anymore. Like they don't, it's almost like they don't know anything more advanced, or if they do, they're not sharing it. So instead of giving him more knowledge or giving him more things to work on, instead they gave him more rank. So now they're just building on this same idea of, only goal orientation is related to testing rather or going up in rank, as opposed to other factors that he could be working on instead. It was really disappointing because the kid wants to learn. He's kind of lazy, but he still wants to learn for the most part. We spent a lot of time with him. Jeremiah spent a lot of time with him, and he actually, for the most part, tried the stuff we were telling him.
He was responsible to coaching. He understood what we were asking for him to do.
Yeah.
He put his effort in, but like any kid, when it gets tough, he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And if he's been allowed to do that in his other dojo, simply, we were working on a very short kata and I asked him to do it 10 times. Just to finish the day out, just to kind of go through your kata and think about, and when we do it, we try to think about what we've been coached on, what we've been working on, and in those 10 performances, try to hit our marks. Simple as that.
Yep.
It's like pulling teeth, because you get one or two and then you'd stop and want to talk and hang out and stand around, lean against the wall.
Yeah.
Hug the bag.
But there's a good chance that that's what's going on in his classes.
Right, that's what I was saying. That's probably what's going on in his classes, especially if he's already teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like a lazy teacher, kind of. Like someone who, he's either lazy or he doesn't want to teach or he doesn't have any more information to give this kid. So between not having anything else to learn and having no peers, that's a pretty good that's a good recipe for someone quitting. We're hoping that he won't. He doesn't contribute to our dojo at all. He's not even in our style. We're trying to coach him in his style in our dojo. But it's always a kind of a travesty whenever somebody quits after Shodan. So, gosh, seeing him, that was just a perfect example, seeing that kid yesterday and seeing like what's lacking for him to be able to continue on training. Yeah.
Well, real recognizes real. When someone really wants something and wants to be good at something, they know when they're being gypped or not.
Yeah.
They know. They know if they heard the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Or they hear conflicting things.
Yeah. And, maybe this is, if there's Shodans out there listening to this or people who are about to test for Shodan, good grief. We don't want to tell you, to go against your teachers or by any means, but, just pay attention to the quality of things that they give you. Pay attention to the little details that they have to share. If they have a lot to offer, you'll be able to slowly implement those things, and then sometimes you'll also find that the opposite is true. That you get after Shodan and then you're like this boy and your teacher doesn't really have anything else to offer you. What do you do at that point? I don't know. I guess you have to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not quit. Hopefully it's find some place to learn.
Yeah. Well, I guess the good thing about YouTube is that, you have all this wealth of information.
Yeah.
And you can make a decision on your own when you watch videos. Look up videos in the style you're in.
Yeah.
See what they look like, and if they look like anything y'all are doing.
Yeah. Then it's usually at least a starting point.
It's a good starting point to know if it's legit or not. I don't.
Basically, so the opposite of quitting after Shodan is find other avenues to learn. If your teacher isn't teaching you, or if you're unmotivated because you don't have peers, which I totally relate to that because I went through the exact same thing. We lost almost everybody after Shodan.
There's nothing wrong with attending different seminars. It's a great way to peek into different things and understand how other people do it.
Yeah. If you're on Facebook, get into Facebook get into Facebook groups.
Yeah.
They share different events for different martial arts styles. We know that that's how they do it in karate. And there's even one specifically for the state of Florida. There's some for different parts of the United States. If you want to travel and learn, it's just a great way to at least continue on your training at least a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's the encouraging part of this I almost said it.
This is a podcast, not a blogcast. Blogcast.
Is that there is a solution.
Yeah.
There is hope, and that hope is continue to follow your curiosity.
Yeah.
That's what brought you into the dojo the first day. Just continue to follow it.
Yeah.
Look at other things, research, do things, make up your own mind. Mm-hmm. Don't become, a puppet of some other teacher that you're identical to them. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Just learn the principles if you can see what they are, or find a good teacher that can teach them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's some things that we did is we sought out teachers after black belt. We actually sought out people that we wanted to teach us, and we've changed who that is a few times, but that was something that we did. We tried to establish relationships with people and get new teachers. Another thing on the flip side, if you're a teacher,
and that is a traditional approach because Funakoshi was encouraged to train with other people, and Funakoshi encouraged his sons to train with other people. Kin Mambuni, the Shito Rugai, he did the same thing. So for those traditionalists listening to us, this is the traditional way. You get to a standard, and then your teacher encourages you to go train other ways so that you can understand what's best for you.
Yeah. Seeking
that is the traditional way. Yeah. Not continue to train under me and look exactly like me.
Yeah, we have some pet peeves with that.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah. Actually, I don't really.
Well, it's a disjustice to the art itself.
Yeah, because you're just making a bunch of robots rather than people understanding.
Over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the flip side of that, if you're a teacher and if you've got new Shodans or you've got people who have gotten to a certain standard, remember that this is something that I'm kind of processing now that they're Shodan level, kind of what's the next step? Because I have to have an idea of the next step for them because they might not. Right. Besides just getting better technically, for me, it's, reapproaching where I've been. You have to make sure that you have been further than your students have gone, obviously. So that way you can bring them up behind you, but then also maybe start to set new goals for them also, things that they can shoot for, or maybe you kind of act like a peer to them, now. You know, they're Shodan level. They're not up to your standard necessarily.
I don't know, peer.
Not like a peer, like, oh, what do you want to do? What do you want to teach? How do you want to run the dojo? Not like that. But I mean, like, you're training alongside them. You're sparring with them.
I think the way you talk to them changes completely.
Yeah, it's like more mature.
They're more mature. You speak to them the way you want to speak to them. You don't expect them to kowtow or anything like that. I don't think that's necessary.
So maybe it's like if you're a parent and your kid is no longer a child, now they're an adult.
Yeah, it's like a parent learning how to talk to a 20-year-old child now.
Yes.
You gotta speak to them with maturity, but at the same time, you're still just 20 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how I see a Shodan. But
Yeah.
that's also how I treat adult students.
Yeah.
Is that I treat them with that respect because they're adults.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be talked that way. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to people that way. Mm-hmm. I think my approach as a teacher is to always just give them little tidbits of cool things to do to ignite their curiosity more.
Yeah.
I don't do certain things to be like, oh, this is it and this is the way it's done. I just like, hey, check this move out. This could be this way or that way. Or I'll do a drill and relate it back to moves in a basic kata or anything like that to where it's uniquely refreshing. And it ignites in a curiosity to even dive further and to see what else this kata might have, these hidden gems.
Yeah.
You know, everybody looks at kata at the surface level at performance only, and they miss out like on 90% of the whole kata.
Yeah.
You know, it's the subtleties and the variations of applications and movements that are intriguing to me.
The stuff that we're actually supposed to be learning.
This is black belt karate stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that the stories the katas actually are telling us, not how to do them.
Yeah.
And that to me is how I believe, or how I truly feel like as a teacher, I could encourage my students to still feel like they're getting fed.
Yeah.
Right? Without, without being like, I don't want to sound like I'm just barely teasing them with information. No. I'm giving them information. It's just not the complete chapter or this whole like black and white thing. I always leave it open-ended so they could further investigate the issue or ideas.
Well, we're like giving them things to open their mind up while we still work on fundamentals, while we still advance those
we
and
emphasize
make them better.
fundamentals. I mean, there's no doubt in our dojo. People know we emphasize fundamental kata.
Yeah.
It has to be right because it doesn't work if it isn't.
But we give them insight into what they're looking for. Granted, we do that pretty early, but still, we're giving them even more after black belt level. I mean, that's literally what we've done since Raylan and Rob's test. Is we taught them Basai Sho, and we started to work on application for the kata. They were super stoked because we had some wrist breaks in there.
I mean, you got to fight the boredom. It can't be at Shodan level. It cannot become the same old training.
Yeah.
That only happens when you're 20, 30 years down the road and you're already committed your whole life, so you can't quit.
Now you can't quit.
That's kind of how it happens, right? Anyways, but at Shodan level, I still feel like you kind of got to feed them a little bit.
Yep.
And you got to kind of encourage them one way or the other. By Nidan level, I feel like they already established they're kind of what they like, what they want, what they see their art becoming. Sure. And you just let them do that. And now it becomes easier for you because they got questions and you're not trying to dictate.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully that's insightful for people who are Shodan level, about to be Shodan level, or maybe you're beyond that, or I don't know, whatever.
I don't know. If we sound like we're talking in circles, maybe we are.
Maybe we are. Maybe we didn't actually write anything down this time.
Maybe we just took 28 minutes and 32 seconds of your life saying nothing.
Or maybe we said everything you ever need to hear in one podcast.
Right, and your mind is blown because we really don't know what we're talking about.
We just know that once you get black belt, don't freaking quit, okay?
Saw a meme the other day. It's pretty funny. It says, "Get in, loser, going to karate class."
I made it!
I know, dude.
I made that. If you see that meme from Mean Girls, I made it. I said, I'm gonna make more of them because it was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I think you should.
I will.
You should be looking out for those.
You never know. I may end up putting up the thing to this podcast and have a meme attached to it. We'll see. Okay, Jeremiah, what are you working on?
Fudodachi. Man, I've been dealing with an ear infection most of the week, and it's got me pretty dizzy. So
he's like standing up and halfway falling over some of the times.
Dude, it's bad, and I can't handle dizzy like I cannot handle being dizzy at all. I have got the weakest stomach. I can't handle roller coasters, anything like that. I am done. So I didn't get to train much.
Gotcha.
But still working on the Fudo Sochin Dachi. I think I got a little bit of a breakthrough. I feel like that my weight is settled better on my my rear leg and a little bit more lower. And in my eye, it looks a little bit more Fudo Dachi-ish.
Yeah.
In a sense, it looks like Fudo Dachi. So I'm hoping it'll be all right. We'll know tomorrow night.
Yep.
It's either right or wrong.
Correct.
But, that's what I'm working on. How about you?
I just want to say that whenever you were teaching the 9 to 12-year-olds class and you had them doing, like, he would say a number, and then we had to do that many kicks on one leg before we put our leg down. And I say we because I did a couple of them with them because I saw them, and I was like, you little twerps, I'm going to destroy you in this. So I went in between two of the boys, and I was like, oh, you can't do 9 kicks in a row with one leg? Watch me do it. It has, like, almost no purpose other than you have to keep your knee up high the whole time. But it was awesome.
Yeah.
Besides that, I'm not actually working on that, but I just thought it was awesome because, it always makes me feel good to make my kids feel inferior. I was working on Fudodachi. It's a little bit better.
Side note, we do teach in a pseudo torturous way. We make games that are evil. The drill we were talking about is that I count 1, you do one kick. I count 2, you do 2 kicks, but you never drop your knee. And then I told them we're going to do it all the way up to 10. So the kids just screamed as if they were going to die. But they had smiles on their face, and they tried, and they fell all over the place, but whatever.
Hanzo is getting angry at something. This is our dog. Anyway, I was working on Sochin Dachi. I feel a little bit more confident in it, but the back leg is like really difficult because you're supposed to do it without your knee falling in, so that's kind of hard. Plus, also because of the kicking class I taught on Tuesday, my knee has been hurting all week, so that didn't feel good. But I started working on the next section. So yesterday when we were doing the black belt class, I worked on the 4 really weird knife hands and the side snap kick, elbow strikes, and Fudodachi, and then also the knife hands into that weird, like, undercut stabby thing. I don't know what that is.
So what do you think about that backspin side snap kick?
It's really hard to do because I already have a hard enough time doing turns and not crossing my legs.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to spin and then do a side snap kick. It's almost impossible right now for me to not cross my left leg in front of my right and get caught there. So, I don't know. It's just difficult. Yeah. And then when I do my right side kick, so I do my left side and the elbow strike, and it's timed okay. When I do my right side, I noticed in the video, I do side snap kick, and then when I go to do my elbow strike, it's late. My strike is late. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, it's way late. My foot lands, and then my torso turns, and then my elbow goes. So, I gotta work on that, too.
Yeah.
So, anyway. But it's just, I don't know, it's an odd move.
I don't like that move at all. I feel like it's hard for me to control the rotation and get the kick online. I feel like I'll always rotate past my target, like be kicking off target.
Yeah.
So, just wondering if you felt the same with you being a smaller person, easier to do the rotations.
Dude, honestly, that whole kata, like, to me, kind of sucks. Sochin is not my favorite. It's just so weird.
Dude, Sochin has built so much strength in my legs and my pelvic girdle, though.
Yeah.
It makes it, dude, doing that kata does make you feel stronger. It does make you feel more stable.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, once I get the stance down and I'm comfortable with moving in it, sure. I'm still not used to this, like, this hip rotation style that's going to be going on in Fudodachi and all that stuff, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, stop burping now. Okay, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we had any events coming soon. We actually don't. Yay. Okay, well, thanks for listening, guys, if you made it this far. See you in the next one. Bye.